about 2 more products that I want to do before the year ends. Also, like, who is she? Losing weight now. Also, it's like weird because I'm not like I was pregnant all this year. Any Uzis. I have 2 projects in mind. I might have 3 to end off the year. I'm not sure until like the next week I'm going to do a whole like computer day where I just sit on my computer, edit videos, because I've been batching videos like crazy and I've been trying to get as much as I can out for y'all so I can be consistent, because whenever I have the time, I'm taking advantage of it to make projects, because that little guy, I don't know if you can see, no, his bassinet's like over here, but that little guy, he's starting to sleep a little bit longer. I pump and then I feed him every now and then. So like right now he has a bottle because I pumped so much today, and right now my pump is charging, so I'm also trying to finish this. I also need to do dinner in a couple of minutes because it's 3:49. I think in about an hour we can finish this next project or start another project. Today's project, because I know it's gonna be quick because I already have this mock-up, I'm going to make a holiday skirt. Now I made this really fitted skirt around last year for Halloween. I don't remember which way is up and which way is down. I'm guessing this part is bigger, so I'm guessing this is the right way. Let me see if I can put my shoes on for a bit. Okay. Alright, I'm definitely gonna have to put a zipper on. Not this one, because it is a little stretchy. There we go. So, I made this for Halloween. Well, not really for Halloween, but I made this around Halloween. Honestly, it could go tighter. It could definitely be tighter. But also, I kind of do want it a little smaller, because now that I am a little skinny, every time I wear it long, I feel like a kindergartner wearing too big of pants. So I think a cute holiday skirt about this short, maybe dare I say this short. Yeah, I also lost a lot of weight with this. But wear a cute holiday shirt this short. That way I can wear a nice sweater with it or anything else. I have a dress that I'm going to wear for the holidays, but even this I could wear for the holidays. I think it's a little too sexy to be around family, plus it looks cheap because it's pleather. I did this for Halloween because Halloween you can get away with pleather, but I used this material for a shirt that I did. That's what I have. I forgot what we called her. But it's the same material that I have on her. The light's behind it. That's why it has a little bit of a haze to it. But yeah. We used the same material on her. So we're going to use the same material for a skirt. And I might actually do a bias tape on this and make this into a shirt and actually wear it for the holidays, and put like a long sleeve shirt on underneath it, and maybe cut a little bit more on the neckline, because yeah, I feel like I need to cut more on the neckline. But this is like a mock shirt, or it's like a shirt that's like my true measurements, and I like it's tapered to the boobs and everything. So I might actually make a skirt, not really to go with it, but like I can wear this with a black skirt or this with a black shirt. And I have 2 skirts that are black that I could possibly make into bodysuits. So yeah, I just didn't bring those out yet. And to do a bodysuit, I have to do a lot of measuring on that. I do have a bathing suit, so I might use the bathing suit as reference, But for now, I want to try and make a skirt, and I also want to see if I have any more spandex or enough spandex to put a short, not a short, well maybe a short underneath these, or I can just make these into a skort, but I don't have a skort pattern. So we're gonna do some research and see what we can do. Alright, this will be the overall like pattern, but I'm about to explain it along with my little fancy drawing. So here we go. You know, this is an interpretation drawing or abstract drawing of like a body, the best that I can do with what I was using. So you're going to have this nice curvy body and or hourglass body, and where the middle of the hourglass is, that's going to be our waist. You're going to measure that entire waist, but you're also going to measure from that waist to the bottom of where you want your skort to end. And then once you've got that drawn up, you're going to measure the side of your skort, which is basically going to be from where your waist starts to where you want your skirt to end. But where you get that 1/4, or where you have your waist measurement, you're going to get 1/4 of that, and you're going to do your pink line, and then you're going to do the same with your legs. You want to put your legs together and measure around both thighs and get 1/4 of that measurement, or you can get the measurement out of one thigh but give yourself a little bit of leg room, pun intended. And now the yellow, I said I measured front of the butt, or front to the back of the butt, but that's actually going to be like where you want your green to be measured throughout, because with the yellow line I measured from my hoo-ha down to like a few inches from there, or from my inseam down a few inches. The green line should actually be that diagram in the middle where it has the yellow and it's circled. That should be your green measurement, and that should be how deep you want that curve to be. But I used a French ruler curve. If you don't have one, just try to make it like my curve. Do not make it too deep, just enough to where it gives you some room for it to be curvy. Hopefully that makes sense. Not too curvy, but not too straight. Now, where that red line was to, you know, show y'all where the side of the measurement is for the side of the shorts, I put that on the fold, and then when I cut that out, I put it on top of another fold. That way both of them were cut on the fold, or both shapes was cut on the fold, and we only have to worry about seaming up the middle part. Although later on in the video I end up cutting a seam into one of the sides so that I could add the skort or the skirt layer to make it a skort over the shorts. So here I'm cutting off the excess of what I need to make that little skirt panel. And then I'm cutting the hem off of the curtain that the rods are supposed to go through. And we're going to have that to the side for now. Now, our pattern that we made that was on the fold, we're going to put right sides together, and we're going to fold along that green line. So get out your sewing machine, and we are now going to sew where the green line was. And you want to make sure you're so what I did was I gave myself like 1/2 inch seam allowance, but I still try to get as close to the edge as possible, and make sure you do your back stitch. But you can always cut off more fabric, and since this fabric is very tight and not stretchy, I make sure that I, you know, give myself a few inches to work with.
also only did a straight stitch this whole entire pattern. If you noticed, I am making this video a little bit longer just to see if y'all want some longer form content or more in depth. I have been told, or not really been told, but I've been searching up like different ways to make sewing videos, and some people say that they do, or they get more views when they show more of the process. They don't speed it up. I might speed up a few clips in this, but I did want to just kind of show in real time on some of this, just to show y'all exactly what I'm doing. So this next part, we will be sewing that yellow line together, and this diagram is going to show what shape you should have. So once we sew the green lines together, there will be a seam, and we're going to put those two seams that we just made together, and we're going to sew a T across the top for that yellow line, and that's how we're going to make our short. And if you never made a short before, congrats, you just made your first pair of shorts. And if you wanted to, you can just put a seam at the top of the shorts, and especially if you did spandex, this would be a great like spandex Spanx type of thing. If not, keep going, we'll make a skort. But yeah, that's to me it's easy to make a shirt, or it's easy to make a short. That's literally all you have to do, and that's the pattern making for it. But we're gonna go a couple of steps further and make this into a skort. But yeah, also if you do this with spandex, you would make a really good Halara dupe, and all you have to do, instead of just doing the flap to go on the front, you would make a really long piece. I would just say like a rectangular piece, and then make it longer than your waist measurements, and you do a pleat on them, and you pin those pleats together and sew it on the edge of your shorts, and put a band or a bias tape around the edge, and you have the Halara skirt dupe. And all you have to do is add pockets underneath the skirt. But we're not doing that today. We can do that another time. But just a little, bonus tip. So after I had tested that out, I did not put the zipper in, but we're going to put the zipper in after we see how this fits without it, because you don't want to make it too tight to where you can't take it off. And it doesn't matter what the front is or what the back is, because your curve line from the front of the seam and the back of the seam is going to be the same both ways. So you don't want to really care about what the front and what the back is. But when you flip it inside out, I pinched it on the sides, and it made this triangular shape. And I've always learned this in hairdressing. If you have like a triangle shape and it's excess, you cut it off at the base. So where that red line is where I kind of like marked it with a pin. So when I pinched it and it made a triangle like that, again, that red line, I marked it with a pin, and I pinned it once I got them off. And that's going to be a dart to make these more tapered in, so that it fits in with the skort and it looks more like a tight fitted skirt. So once I have those darts put in, and I know exactly how tight I want these, the skirt, I then did a little bit of seam ripping on the back of the skort shorts right now, but I made it the length of the zipper. And then that zipper, as you can tell, I'm putting one side right sides together. So basically the outside of the zipper, where I just pointed to, where the zipper is out, that's your right side. And we're going to put it right sides together to our skort. Take your zipper foot and sew from the top downward. Make sure your zipper is zipped down, because once we get past that first few inches, we're going to we're going to put the needle down, or leave the needle down, put the zipper foot up, and then you're going to zip up that zipper past your zipper foot on your sewing machine. Apparently mine was hard to get past it, but you're going to wiggle it and get it through, and then you're going to sew all the way down. So when I'm done, I take it off because I want to make sure those sides are lined up very well. So what I do is kind of just shift it over to the other side, right sides together. And you want to make sure that that zipper stays up for right now, because you want that zipper to stay out of the way, and you don't want it to bump your zipper foot over or get it jammed somehow in your sewing. But once we have it right sides together, if you want, you can pin it. I didn't pin it. That's probably why it's taken me so long to get it underneath the machine. And make a parallel line from your other stitch that you made. Again, zipper foot in the up position. Right now it's just down, but it's technically up. I'm lining up the zipper with the material, and then we sew a few inches down, or in this case up, because you're going up the skort. And you can go a little bit further, it doesn't really matter as long as your zipper foot's not in the way. It just gives you more room to zip it up. Leave the needle in, push the foot up, and then push that zipper past the foot. You want to make sure it's back there pretty good way, so again it doesn't get caught up in your zipper foot or in your needle. I guess if you wanted to, you could take it out and move your zipper foot, or move the zipper, but it's fine. Once I finish that, you want to check the zipper, make sure that both sides don't have any holes in it. So I kind of pull on the sides and just see that there's no gaps. And once I do that, I go back to the bottom of the zipper and do a stitch connecting both sides, or connecting that zipper to the bottom so there's no gap or no hole from where you made that seam split apart for the zipper. You also want to make sure there's no hole from the zipper down to the seam. You want it, to where everything is connected to that zipper, or else everything's going to fall apart later on, and we don't want that to happen. So make sure that seam from the short is connected to that zipper, and that you also put a side-to-side seam at the bottom of the zipper, just to make extra sure that seam does not split apart later on. Let's also not forget those darts that we put in earlier. That's what we're going to do now, is we're going to put them flat and we're going to put those darts in. Make sure the bottom of the dart is lined up with the other side so that you stay symmetrical. And when you're doing the top of the dart where it gets smaller, you want to make sure you get as close to that side as possible. You don't want a harsh line because it'll make a corner, which you'll see the corners once I put these shorts on inside out. There's a little bit of a corner, but once you flip them right side out, they will go pretty flat. And if you want to make these darts extra flat, you want to iron the darts so that they are super flat. You don't want any corners. You want this skort fitting like you went to the tailor's. This is me getting the other side of the skort. You want to make sure both darts are the same size, and you want to make sure there's the same length so that everything is symmetrical. And then once you have the dart where you want them, then you can cut them out. So again, try them on inside out. That way you can see where everything's at. Flatten those darts. Make sure you like the shape of what's going on. Yes, I have no booty. And it's a little bit big here in the front. And I go back in the sewing machine right here and I put a dart, or, you know, that curve, I take it in a little bit more at the belly. That way it's a little bit more fitted. I could have done more, but it was fine for now. Again, I didn't want this to be too tight because, again, this material does not stretch, and if I cut too much off, that's the end of this skort. So, now we're doing the waistband. I think I cut like a 2 to 3, no, I think it was 4 inches. 4 inches tall. Or I don't know, that's looking very 2 inches. Maybe 2.5 inches tall. And basically you only need half of your waist measurement in these, but technically you need 2 1/4 pieces of your waist measurement, because this part, the waistband, is actually just for the back of the skort, because the front of the skort is going to have that front piece or that front panel to make it a skirt. So we're going from the zipper to the side seam, or where the side seam would be for the skort. Make sure the end or the short sides are seamed up. That way you have a nice clean seam. You don't want any raw edges sticking out. And we're going to put, this one I did right side of the band to the wrong side of the skort. That way when you fold it, there's no raw edges sticking out. And it creates like a bias tape look. So when I'm done doing this, I can take the iron, flatten out that seam, and then I double fold it on the other side to make a nice folded over seam. when you don't have any raw edges sticking out, it looks so much nicer. So I did realize that I went a little over from the side seam because, like I said, you only want zipper to the side seam with the band, because the front is going to have your Skort panel. So I realized I stopped. I cut off the excess material thinking I was where I was, but then I realized that I went over. So I eventually had to cut even more of this and seam rip it even more. So don't do what I do. Now, this is how I got the Skort part, or the panel, is I took those shorts. Once I got all my measurements down and everything, I took the shorts and I just cut around them into the shape that I wanted. Now, one thing, you know how I said earlier that we don't want any side seams? Well, it's kind of good that I did it in this order, or I was kind of going with the flow on this one, but I realized I'm gonna need this panel to go in somewhere, and you don't want to make too many seams or rolled edges or hems. So after I cut my panel out, you'll see me cutting the sides of my shorts out, and I'm actually sandwiching in. See right here how it's connected to the side? I sandwiched in that Skort piece. So you want to do wrong sides of that Skort piece to the front side of your shorts, and then you want to kind of roll it over into the back of the shorts, or roll the back of the shorts right sides together on the skirt part. Hopefully that makes sense. And you're going to sew down one side of that seam, and that way you have one side that has the Skort panel and the other side doesn't have another seam, and it looks like one continuous skirt. And after I did that, I am now attaching the top of the Skort to the top of the shorts. Just doing a straight stitch all through this pattern. And this is all just going with the flow, or going with my gut instinct on how to make the Skort. You know, I did pattern making, or I was teaching myself how to do pattern making last year, and that has really helped me make some really nice clothes and just making my own patterns. I would love to learn how to make my own patterns and print them out, maybe for y'all to also download for yourself. I'm still trying to see if I'm going to still do like either sewing, crochet. I'm trying to niche down, but I don't want to niche down too much because I still love doing all these crafting stuff. Okay, so this is me cutting off the excess of the Skort and making a hem for that loose flap of the Skort. Now, if you wanted to, I should have put like a plaid material on the bottom of the Skort so that when you flipped it up, it was kind of cute and it had like plaid underneath the Skort. But the white was fine for me. At this point, I was just trying to finish the Skort. That way I can make some final touches to it, because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to make this Skort. But honestly, I did all of this in one night. Maybe 2 to 3 hours I worked on this. But that's me, like, I don't know. I was having a good mental day this day. I was like, either my ADD struck in really good this day, or it just made sense. I don't know. Once you start sewing and you get used to pattern making, or, you know, making your own stuff, it kind of comes second nature to you. But here I am making that seam. Move those pins. You don't want to destroy your machine with pins. And now that we have the top and the sides of that panel done, we can now do our finish the waistband. Alright, so this is where we had the right side of the waistband, so the wrong side of the skort. But I believe this part is the front of the skort. I had that panel a little bit taller than the shorts, so that once I sewn that skort down, I can then take the top of that skort panel and flip it down, and that would be the waistband. And it would match up with the back part of the waistbands, going from the zipper to the sides. So here I am. This is the other side of the waistband on the back, from the zipper to the side seam. This is, no, okay, so we got the, yeah, again, right side of the waistband to the wrong side of the skort. I guess it just looks weird from my brain. I don't know. It's 12 o'clock right now at night. We're going to do it to where it matches up with that skort panel. And then we're going to continue the seam all the way around so that both of the waistbands all match up. And I did a top stitch, or 2 top stitches around. I don't have an overlock machine. Like, I have an overlock machine. I don't have it where it like does the 2 stitches down, or a top stitch overlock. I guess, I don't know what it's called, where it has the 2 stitches going down and it looks like an overlock machine, but it's not. Anyway, I just take my time, I line it up. I have little lines on my machine that shows me like where like 1/4 of a seam is, or half of a seam allowance is, and I just use those lines on my machine to see, or to make a top stitch, so that our skirt looks nice, professional. You also, I should have flat ironed this, because as you can tell, it gets bulky, especially right here on the sides. I should have gotten my flat iron, but I was too lazy to go back inside and get it, because I had it inside for some weird reason. I don't know what project I was doing for that, but again, please, if you can, flat iron it. If you don't, and you do what I did, just at least flat iron it before you wear it out. It just looks so much nicer when you have clothes that are ironed and they look nice. So, finishing touches. This is just me doing my top stitching. If you want to do decorative stitching or your patches, if you have any embellishments you want to add, do it now. But always, before you do your waistbands, make sure you have all the alterations you want to make. That way you don't have to cut into the waistband to make any alterations, or you don't have to undo the hems. It's just easier to make sure you get everything fitted before you add any bias tape and stuff like that. So now I'm trimming out any excess material. I could have rolled or did a rolled hem from the back, but I think I was just trying to get one line to match up, and I didn't want to have to worry about a rolled hem and the lines to match up. And this is me doing my second stitch parallel to the other one. So we have 2 top stitches. Again, it just makes it look more professional. It looks like you have like one of those top stitch machines. Also, make sure your threads are all the same color. I believe all of the threads in the skirt are the same color, except there's like one of the hems I think I did with green, and I was like, oh my goodness, good thing this is a holiday skirt, because I don't think anybody would second guess if it's green. But the rest of it I used a red thread. So yeah. And the needle that I'm using is like a jean needle, because I didn't know if this material is going to get thick like jeans. It has like a denim feel to it. Again, it's like a curtain. It was a blackout curtain at that. But once I get the finishing touches on, then I put on the shorts. I see if they fit. And honestly, I loved how these fit. I feel like around the belly it could be tighter, or it could just be a tighter skirt. See, around my waist it is a little bit loose. But that's the Skort. That's what I ended up with. I was happy with this. Honestly, I did not want to make it too tight. That's why I kind of let it stay a little baggy at the top. I can always put a belt over it, because I feel like with just the Skort, and you'll see the bodysuit, or you'll see it paired with the bodysuit towards the end. That's me bending down to show y'all how I can just bend down, take care of my kids without busting a seam. But when you see the outfit put together, I'm going to put a belt with it. A belt would look nice, and I have a big black belt to go over those.
Skirt down, shirt is next. So the Skort is perfect. I can bend down, do everything in it, and I'm so excited about it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this skirt video. If you want to, please subscribe and watch the second video with me making a top.